Hello and welcome to this channel, everybody. This is the Eradicator, and in today's video we're going to talk about Star Citizen Alpha 3.6. And finally, oh my goodness, finally CIG decided to address the progress of Alpha 3.6. All the new things, the new features that are going to come up in 3.6. Is 3.6 going to be delayed? Is 3.6 going to be split and fragmented into different patches? Everything was on the table, as you can see here. They even have some notes, and they did discuss some of the things that we have been discussing here on this channel. They did confirm some of our interrogations, and that's okay, guys. I totally get it that this is game development. Things, eventually get to change. Things need to be flexible, and that's totally fine. What I wanted, and I'm really glad I finally got that, was some clarification, some information. I wanted them to address the issues, or at least some of the things that are going to be seen in Star Citizen Alpha 3.6, and they did just so, and this is really exciting. So the first thing that they did talk about regarding Alpha 3.6 is the fact that there are going to be tons of new game mechanics that we can actually see right here in the roadmap. So they did address some of these game mechanics that we're going to see here that are mostly finished. As you can see, there's only the black market economy that's still halfway through. We also have weapon attachment, which is, maybe it's going to be delayed in 3.7. So they didn't say that 3.6 is actually feature locked right now. So some of these features that are not completed could still slip to 3.7. That's okay. They did talk about ship rentals. Ship rentals is confirmed for 3.6. It's already one task out of 5. Chris did say that ship rentals is very important for the players because he wants players to experience different kind of ships, even though they cannot really afford to get them. So that's really great that we are going to have more opportunity to try out ships instead of just buying them for real money. We'll be able to rent them for a couple of days with actual in-game currency. So that is pretty awesome. That is going to make it to 3.6. It is definitely a feature that a lot of players are expecting. So it's this is really good news. Oh yeah, here the law system is almost complete. 35 tasks out of 38. They did talk about it a little bit during the show here. They did mention that there would be 19 different laws at the beginning of the game when we have 3.6 that will be put inside the verse. 19 different laws that we would have to keep in mind wherever we travel. And also the interesting things is that these laws are not always going to be the same. They will say that some jurisdiction, as they call them, would basically legalize things that others would not. Some jurisdiction would consider a crime to be more serious than others. They did mention that maybe if you go to Hurston and you park at the wrong landing pad, then the penalty would be higher than if you park at Port Olizar. And I thought that was fun. that some places consider a crime to be more serious than others. So these are things that will have to be considered. Also, with that law system will come the black market economy. And they did mention that in the past players did not really have any perks or any purpose of stealing ships or being a pirate, but with this new system there will be dedicated places where we will be able to sell stolen goods if we steal a ship or if we steal cargo. Of course, it's going to be at a fraction of a price, but at least we'll be able to make money out of the hard work of the honest merchants that we might eventually have to take out, if I may say so. So that is also another great thing that is being confirmed. It really seems that they are indeed focusing on all these gameplay mechanics. Most of the gameplay mechanics that we can see here on the roadmaps are still up there. So it's great that they are going to make it to 3.6. We can see some of the things have slipped though. So here the character customization V2 is not really necessary for 3.6, so that's why it is now to 3.7. That's fine. There's another thing that did slip to 3.7, and we're gonna go there. Unfortunately, for those of you who are very interested in Banu ships, the Banu Defender has once again been delayed. I think the first time it was supposed to be in Star Citizen was in 3.4, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was supposed to make it to 3.4, and then 3.5, and then 3.6, and now 3.7. Oh my goodness. But that's okay. So they did mention about the Banu defender in this little episode here, and they were basically saying that they were not satisfied with some of the work that was done right now, so they would rather delay the ship and have it right than ship something at the beginning and have to rework on it after. And I totally get it. That's absolutely fine with me. So yeah, kudos, more power to CIG for that. Kudos to CIG for being straightforward and telling us, you know, what's going on. This is what we've been wanting for a couple of weeks now. It's, in my opinion, these explanations are coming a little bit late, but hey, you know, better late than never, right? Now, what else did they talk about? They talked about so many different things. There are so many different exciting things. They talk about voice over IP as well. So they did say that some of the things that are in the roadmap, that some of the things that will be coming in some of the patches are not in the roadmap. Improvements for voice over IP is one of these. So they did mention that Chris did acknowledge that voice over IP was mostly disabled for the past couple of patches because it didn't work so well. The servers were not really implementing all that data that players were putting through the servers to the client of other players. But probably I think it's possible to put it back in the game because of all the server improvements that are going to come up with Alpha 3.6. Unfortunately, they did not talk about the server improvements, probably because they have already talked about that a little bit in Inside Star Citizen, so probably they thought that it was not maybe necessary to talk about that in this episode of introducing Pilot Talk. But yeah, it was interesting to have a little nod about what's going to come up with the voice over IP. They did talk also about the Vanguard, and that's not the Vanguard, that's the Mustang, but they did talk about the Vanguard also. It was a little compliment about complement to what we saw in Inside Star Citizen, and they did mention that the Vanguard was indeed not what it was in the concept, and that they did confirm that their intention was to really get as close as possible to the initial concept, which is something that we'll be looking forward to. Very interesting. They did say that about only 10% of the interior is the same as what it used to be, and about 20% of the exterior is the same as what we had in the previous iteration of the of that ship, of the Vanguard. So basically it is going to look a little bit similar, but in fact it's going to be a completely different ship. So probably I'm going to unmelt the Vanguard and see all the differences and tell you guys how it's going to be in the verse. I cannot wait to try it out as well. So you guys stay tuned to this channel, because you guys will, as always, will be the first to know as soon as I get my hands on the new Vanguard. They did mention more things, more elements regarding the 890 jump. Unfortunately, and this is something that we've been discussing on this channel, the 890 jump is not going to make it to Star Citizen Alpha 3.6. It is going to make it into maybe 3.6.1 or 3.6.5 or whatever they call it, but it is not going to make it immediately on the release. And again, we can see that on the roadmap. Let's go to ships and vehicles. It is only at 86 tasks out of 131. This is really their first capital ship that's going to make it into the verse, and it requires a huge amount of work. Some of that work, sometimes takes longer. Some of that work sometimes needs to face roadblocks. Sometimes Chris is a very perfectionist person, so he wants that some minor details to be changed all over again. So this might explain why the 890 jump is not going to make it into 3.6.1, but sorry, it's not going to make it to 3.6, but it's going to make it to 3.6.1 or another patch. But at least they were very straightforward and they did talk about it. So again, thank you CIG for giving us these clarifications. Let's see if there's anything else interesting that we can talk about regarding this episode of Pilot Talk. That's what this new show is called. They also, of course, how could I forget that? They also mentioned server persistence, at least persistence in some forms. So their objective with 3.6, they want loadouts to persist. So for example, if you buy some new guns, and if you, let's say you go to Hearthstone, you buy some of these beautiful and sexy new guns on Hearthstone Dynamics, then in the past when your ship was destroyed, you would lose your guns. Now it's not going to be the final iteration of equipment persistence, of course, because in the future they want you to let's say you have lifetime insurance. You add some fancier guns to your ship, you're going to have to pay the extra when you claim your ship. It's not going to be the case in 3.6 yet, but in the future it is going to be so. So they did mention that, but at least we're going to be able to keep these extra equipments that we would have bought wherever we would have wanted in the verse. Now, the next thing that they did mention is server-side OCS and server meshing. So they did talk about it again. They did confirm that as soon as we have server-side OCS and server meshing, there will be no more server wipes. So basically, that's going to be the very first iteration of Star Citizen. It's going to be Star Citizen V1, I don't know, maybe probably beta or alpha. I don't know how they are going to call it or label it, but at least all of our progression will mean something. The money that we would make would remain in our accounts. The data would not be wiped out, and that would be amazing. I cannot wait for when our actions, for the time when our action is going to mean something in the verse. So again, it's always interesting to have all of these. These are basically the top guys, our CIG right now. It's really awesome to have them address the issues, tell us what's going on in the near future or in the longer term. So thank you, CIG, for finally answering our questions. Thank you, CIG, for finally taking the time to address these issues that we've been raising for quite some time. So I am today a satisfied backer once again. Now let's have a look quickly at the roadmap. So we've already had we've already seen that the normal character elements right here. Gameplay, most of it is under polish phase. Half of the Vanguard is done. The Archimedes Seal 70, they did mention that it is going to make it 3.6. It's not a lot of tasks, so I have full confidence that these are going to make it for 3.6.0. Some of these guns here almost finished, so I'm pretty confident. They didn't talk about them, but I'm also confident they're going to make it on time. And the core tech, we've already talked about it before. Most of these server technologies are already under polish phase, so probably going to make it to 3.6. Not so sure about distribution and ecosystem improvements. Only 7 tasks out of 20, maybe 3.7. Again, this is not feature locked, so there can still be some changes. Expect feature locking to be happening next week. That's probably what I would expect. But yeah, they are running a little bit late in my opinion. That's a bit a shame that they did not talk about the fact that they are running late. They did not talk about eventual delays. They did not talk about Star Citizen 3.6 going into Evo Caddy. So I wished that we could have heard a little bit more on that. Interestingly, they also worked a little bit on Horizon. Last time we were at 49 out of 125. Now it's 57 out of 125. So I don't know why. I don't know why Horizon is making such good progress. I also would like them to address, this mystery. This is very interesting to me. All right, guys. So tell me, guys, what you think about the clarification that CIG has given us. Are you satisfied that finally we got to see Chris and Co talking about 3.6 and all the issues and the delays? Personally, I was. This is what I've been wanting for a couple of weeks now. So thank you, CIG. Don't go away, guys, because this month I got a giveaway. I'm giving away a Tomb Raider Ranger CV with LTI. All you need to do to get a chance of winning is to subscribe to this channel and to comment to any videos posted this month. The winner will be announced in a live stream giveaway that will take place early July, so good luck to everybody. That's all for this video. Thank you so much. This is the Eradicator. I'm signing out.